Welcome back, everybody, and today we've got another Am I the A-hole story for you, and it is a doozy. Let's go. Am I the a-hole for poisoning housemate who ate my food without my permission and ended up in the ER? Now, just reading that title alone, we have to wonder if they truly are an a-hole, because that sounds absolutely horrible. But we have zero context, so let's withhold our judgments until after. The verdict says not the a-hole, but let's just see why. I, 19-year-old male, recently moved into a shared place, and there is someone who keeps stealing my food. At first, I thought it was just a mistake, but even my leftovers were being eaten. It was very clear that the person was doing it on purpose. I spoke to my housemates about how I would just prefer to be asked first, but they were nonchalant about it, and none of them admitted to doing it. And I haven't caught anyone in the act, so I just tried to ignore it, as it only happened every couple of days or so. A few days ago, I came home from work with a carton of eggs that I found while dumpster diving and some bread. I wanted to give the eggs the water test first before eating them, just to make sure that they are safe to consume, but I was too tired and went to bed early without eating. The next day, I found out that one of my housemates got so sick he ended up having to go to the emergency room. My eggs were not in the fridge where I left them, but I saw the carton and shells in the trash, and my bread was opened. I had a hunch that it was him because there was a possibility that the eggs had gone bad, but I was also annoyed at the fact that he helped himself to my food without asking. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. Okay. When he came back, I asked him if he had eaten my eggs and bread, but he denied. I then said, okay, but I hope whoever ate them doesn't get as sick as you did, because I found the eggs in a dumpster. His face immediately dropped and he looked visibly uncomfortable. He got angry and went from saying that he may have consumed the food by mistake. As he wasn't paying attention and doesn't exactly remember, and accused me of poisoning him. Oh, this is so good. Oh, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. He said that it's a health hazard to bring such food in communal spaces without warning everyone first, as it's not uncommon for people in shared places to eat other people's food by mistake. Yeah, not uncommon, except you're doing it on purpose, obviously, if you're doing it as a repeat after being asked not to. Man. Anyway, he hasn't spoken to me since then, and my housemates are siding with him and called me disgusting for doing that. A part of me feels like I wasn't wrong because they were my eggs that I was fully intending on eating, and I didn't think I had to warn people against eating food that didn't belong to them. But I also do feel bad and guilty that he got sick. So, Reddit, please tell me if I was in the wrong. Wow. Wow. Okay. So the title was definitely baiting, right? I mean, it just has you thinking like, oh, this is absolutely horrible. This guy's a jerk. Obviously, he's the a-hole, just by the title alone. But that story, man, that's great. And so he just brought the eggs home and crashed. Like, it wasn't like he was trying on purpose to set this guy up, or at least that's not how he phrased it. That's totally possible, by the way. He may have dumpster dived fully with the intention of, hey, I'm going to put these in the fridge, and maybe that whoever that is that's stealing my food will take them and eat them and get sick. He may have, that's like diabolical. That's like five-head situation there. Like, I don't know if this guy is that smart. Maybe he is, but let's assume that just based on his story, right, he had no intention of any of that. He just wanted some eggs. He wanted free food, right? He found the free food, wanted it, took it home, totally intended on eating it. And this other guy helped himself to his food yet again, because this is a repeat situation that's going on. And he got what was coming to him. That's what I think. That's absolutely insane, but there's an edit here. Okay, let's just see what he has here in the edit. Just to clarify, because I see comments that suggest I may have done it on purpose. Here we go. I didn't. I have been dumpster diving for some of my food recently, so I was fully intending on eating it, just like I have been eating the food that I have been finding while dumpster diving. Okay, I try to exercise caution, and thankfully it hasn't made me sick yet, but had he not eaten it, I was probably going to end up in the ER myself because I was obviously going to eat it. I didn't randomly do it just to try to bait and catch whoever had been eating my food. Food poisoning is not a joke. As I said, I just moved recently, and I'm just trying to get on my feet. I also understand that although I make sure to wipe my food first, ultimately it is gross to put food that came from a dumpster in a communal fridge or pantry, and I will not continue to do so. I will just put it in my room from now on. Yeah. Okay, so this guy, yeah, he just made a simple mistake. I mean, what did he say? He's like 19 years old. Like he said, he just got out on his own. He's figuring stuff out. He's sharing a space with people too. So maybe they're similar ages. They're all figuring stuff out. So, I mean, yeah, I could excuse the kind of like, oh, that's kind of a dummy move. You probably should have washed it first, or maybe you should have your own little personal mini fridge for situations like that where you dumpster dive for food. But yeah, that's in general, I think, excusable to a certain degree. I mean, it's still kind of like you're an idiot, but at least, I mean, he's not the a-hole in this situation, I don't think. Let's see what people in the comments think. I lived in dorms for 7 years with 9 different people altogether. Nobody has ever eaten my food by mistake, or on purpose, by the way, nor did I eat others. It's really not that hard to not eat what's not yours, not the a-hole. Yeah. I completely agree, man. You see something in the fridge, or you should very clearly know if you bought it or not. Unless it's a situation where you and somebody else really like the same thing and you buy it all the time. Like, I could kind of understand that. But even in that situation, if you're sharing a space with people, you would just mark it with your name. Very simple to avoid these kind of situations and mistakes if you do that. OP responds, I'm glad that you never experienced this as it's frustrating to go through. Yep, very fair. Next one. OP, float test isn't foolproof. Want to stir up a chicken community? Tell them it is. Add a flashback crack check to your list. Did rest of eggs pass the float test? Flashlight crack check. Flashlight crack check. Wow, that's a mouthful. OP responds, oof, thanks for this information. I didn't test them as he ate them before I could do so. I have no idea whether they would have passed the test or not. Yeah, totally fair. If there is a way to test your food to see if it has spoiled, probably a good idea to do so. Especially anything that should be eaten warm. Like, you have no idea if it's spoiled, right? Things that can go a while at like room temperature, maybe it's less of an issue if you're dumpster diving that food. But things that should be kept at a certain temperature, I would not trust at all dumpster diving for that, unless you witnessed it being thrown out. And so it was recent. But even then, you don't necessarily know for sure, because if it was in someone's trash or upstairs in their apartment or whatever for hours before they chose to throw it out, it's still spoiled. So even that check is not necessarily foolproof. This is such a sketchy kind of lifestyle choice. I can't blame him for, being hard on times or just having that interest. Like, if you like dumpster diving, that's on you, that's cool. But for the health reason, like, maybe not the best choice. Maybe go to like a food bank or something like that if you're hard on food, man. Next comment here. Not the a-hole. If the housemates prefer a communal food sharing system, they had the opportunity to discuss this with you when you brought it up. They also could have asked you to label your food. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was just saying. Label your food, especially if you have food interests that are very similar or the same. If you guys are getting the exact same thing sometimes, label it so it's very clear whose is whose. OP responds, right? No one mentioned sharing food at all, and I also find it hard to believe that a person can accidentally eat food that he knows he did not purchase or leftovers that they know aren't theirs and didn't cook. Exactly. Yeah, so there's a lot of not the a-hole here. I'll read one more. Nope, you did nothing wrong. Your forgetful roommate is a piece of work. Once or twice I can see food going missing in a communal fridge, but chronically and with nobody fessing up is the work of a BS artist feeding you lies and hoping that you restock the fridge so his stomach can be full. That's seriously what it sounds like. It sounds like somebody's trying to get a free meal over and over so they don't have to spend money. And that's whack. That is just not cool. Someone is lying to your face and eating your food who doesn't have the balls to admit their error and think you are dumb enough to believe their weak, lame excuse. Full stop. Tell them you are insulted for this reason and your sick roommate got what was coming to him. He merely got to experience the occupational hazard of being a thief, not the a-hole. Yeah. I mean, okay. To be fair, I would say everyone is the a-hole in this situation, because the dude should have thought like, oh, this is not clean or not safe to put these possibly spoiled eggs in the fridge, even if he was tired. That seems really weird to me. You at least wash them, like somewhat sanitize them, put them in a different container than the one that was in the dumpster. Yeah, I would definitely say everyone is the a-hole, but definitely not full on this guy being the a-hole. He did not do the main thing wrong here. The main thing is food being stolen, and this guy acting like, you know, nothing's wrong until he goes to the ER for it. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I really enjoyed that one. Because the title had me thinking something completely different. I love those kind of bait and switch Reddit posts. Yeah, this was a really good one. Well, what do you guys think? Who's the a-hole in this situation? Let me know in the comments, leave a like, a subscribe, and I will see you next time.